Yo guys, LoL Coach Gaby here. So I know lots of people came of Arcane because of the recent episodes and the previous ones. But here is the thing: if you actually want to enjoy League, you got to know how to enjoy it. And I know this sounds kind of weird, Gaby, but isn't it kind of like a game that I can just play and I can enjoy it in my own way? I think to a good extent that's definitely true. But there are some must-to-have settings and must-to-know things that you have to know as a beginner to actually have fun in the game without getting constantly overwhelmed and overwhelmed and overwhelmed. Now, let's start from the settings themselves. Um, Now, you can enable low spec mode because a lot of people that do actually just only use their PC, their laptops, just to basically watch movies. You may not have, especially if you don't even know your specs, you may not have the best possible computer or laptop to actually like enjoy the game on a good FPS. So if you feel like the game is not working out super well once you're in game FPS wise, which means FPS means that um, it starts stuttering. It feels to be a bit more delayed. It feels uncomfortable when you play League. Then usually you need to turn on low spec mode, which is definitely required. Now, to make the game even more enjoyable, there are different languages to your client, and basically, like, you can also change the in-game, right? You can also change the in-game voices to whichever you want to, which is very important to know if you watch for example, if you watch League in a different language, like for example, you watch it in Romanian Arcane, you watch in Hungarian, in French, in whatever language it's translatable. One of the cool things you can actually do is that you go to your settings and you can actually change the language in your preferred language in here. Now, for me, it's gonna remain on uh, English, you know, and but there are a bunch of languages you can choose in between. The cool thing is that you go to the League of Legends, right? And so this is the client and this is in-game, so that's the difference. And in here you also want to choose your preferred language: German, Chestina, uh, whatever you like the most, whatever you like: Italian, Hungarian. And this is how you can make the game feel a bit more familiar to you, a bit more fun. So I'm gonna log in very quickly. Now let's get down to other things as well that you have to understand about League to make it a bit more fun. You're just gonna get in game very quickly, and I'm gonna show you guys where are the bots. Obviously the game gonna show you, but in case you don't really find it, this is where you should ideally. I don't care what your friends tell you. I don't care what people tell you that you are playing against bots. They're not even that good, whatever. But the bots been improved over time, and they to bring a little bit more realistic, gameplay to like what will you face as a beginner. So I think bots actually been improving to a good extent, to the point where they're just not absolute NPCs that are waiting to be killed. But I highly recommend you guys at the beginning to play into intro, beginner, and intermediate, so you can ramp up the difficulty as much as you want to, slowly, step by step, if you feel like. And this will just simply allow you to like get the hang of the game, get the feeling of the game, actually enjoy the game at the beginning, have fun in it. Because the issue is that yes, Riot Games did take lots of measures against smurfing, against toxicity and whatnot. But if you play quick play, if you play draft, maybe with friends you could do it. But here's the thing: as a beginner, often you're gonna bump into smurfs, into toxic players, and soon I'm gonna explain to you guys how to like deal with them very quickly. So practice tool also in the training section will be a very good friend of yours if you want to practice the mechanics of a champion over and over and over and over. For example, you really like a more mechanic like Jace. Let's just say Jace because you came of Arcane, right? We will not even go to Zed. You really like Jace, you really like his confidence, you really like his character and whatnot. You can take different runes of choices, obviously, like Conqueror or Phase Rush. Both of them take a different form of practicing and combos depending on like what do you want to do. But here's the thing: you may not exactly know the combos on Jace, and the issue is in game. Often you're gonna get killed probably in PvP. We can call it PvP, or often what can happen that we are on cooldowns and you don't get enough time to like practice your combos. So that to make the game a bit easier actually guys, what I highly recommend it to you guys, you can like search up a YouTube video, and what you wanna do, you're in practice tool. I'm gonna show you guys how really quickly to use practice tool as well. For example, I type J's combos in my case. A bunch of combos from pros as we can visually see. Case combo guides. We can look at this one as well. Get step by step learning to easy to harder difficulties, right? There is easy and hard, so let's start with easy. It's also very properly explained by buff pros on when to use it. So we're gonna step a little bit forward. It's basic attack. This AA refers to you clicking on the enemy champion. So this AA means that
future will be bright.
Range form, obviously you need your range form, and you reset your basic attack with your W, and then you get the rest of your basic attacks off as well. That's the point. So this is just a simple basic attack reset combo as an example, but obviously there will be more standard combos than this. You know, we can close this for now. I'm showing you guys something. For example, we're level 6, but at level 3 you unlock all of your abilities. There are more and more or less advanced combos. For example, like you could just like, for example, EQ is your generic combo to empower your Q, but you can also be a bit more tricky. For example, in here you can turn on auto refresh mana as well, and HP. This will allow you to spam non-stop your abilities, which allows you for non-stop practice, which is really good. And so the thing is, for example, you could also Q and then E to empower your Q to make it a bit more tricky. There are more advanced combos as well on Jace's. For example, like you could like this is not a necessity for you to know, but like there are more advanced combos like this as an example. But again, like a lot of these combos are specifically used in some case scenarios, so this is not like some type of like fighting game or whatnot where perhaps like a Dark Souls like game where you have to use your abilities on a certain pattern to outplay someone. But that's how you should definitely like get the hang of the game at the beginning. I need to use in a certain way my abilities to counter his abilities, and that's often good enough for you to like get along. But often playing on a pattern, most of the higher ranks will matter more to not do that. So this is a good way to practice things in practice tool. You can also practice your last hits, by the way. So for example, if we go back to level 1, really good. We skip forward. If you want to practice your last hits, that's also totally fine. Both in melee and range form and with abilities and whatnot.
I will light our path.
Okay, we can skip a little bit forward. And basically the minions have spawned. Now usually they are a bit buggy, because like, I don't know like why these minions usually don't see only 2 minion waves, but these are a little bit bugged now and then for some random reason. But basically my point is that in a practice tool you can definitely like practice those combos very nicely. Now let's talk about settings. So some must-have settings on is that you need most likely you could use as a jungler display recommended jungle path. Attack move on cursor will also help you a little bit to just like simply move in between basic attacks. This setting is a must-to-have for beginners, because it just simply means that your ability will be used at the maximum range even though you click beyond that. That doesn't apply to Jace but to other champions, but that's a must-to-have for most. Now very important things from settings I would already tell you guys. You can turn off summoner names, you can turn on timestamps if you feel like. Now for beginners you can also mute reactions if you get pissed off by reactions, you know. Now let's scroll up a little bit. You can also turn off emotes. Now I don't turn them off, but if you get pissed off by emotes, or at least you could mute enemy emotes. Now chat, you can also change it to like pre-made only, which means you only see your party's chat, so you don't see the shit people throw around in the chat, which is a useful feature for you. You can turn on same team, party, and ally, which means you and your teammates, and even if you're teamed up, you can see those chats. And party, ally, all, you never go there. Everyone, you never go there, because half of the times, like when I remove this all feature from my chat, where I can see what the enemy team is typing, half of the toxicity is actually gone,
Our
because most
future
of the
will be
times
bright.
people are not like the most respectful players in league. They're not like, oh yeah bro, well played, thank you for this game, or whatever, like people could like more intellectually, more respectfully talk about. I mean, league players are not like that. Like most of the times it's either like
Eyes
some
on the
10-year-old kids
horizon.
typing like, I don't know, maybe if they kill the get shit on or something, you feel me? So it's not like that you're gonna meet the most respectful possible players, and in fact it's just like an extra distraction that could just take your attention away from just basically like improving on your own things. So allow minimap movement, very easy one. Show minimap on the left. So if you prefer it on the left, it can be on the left. If you prefer it on the right, it can be on the right. If you turn it off, adjust the preference. Um, Now from the other hand, that's also like show summoner show names above health bar. You can have it, you can't have it. It's up to you. I highly recommend you to not have it, just because like it's just simply like a little bit of an extra, basically. Um, just takes away your attention. Now in here you can set your mouse speed in game, camera speed if you feel like it can be a bit faster. Move camera and revive, best if you turn it off, especially if you play with TP. This is just a preference, the preset, offset, fixed. So this is the difference between these fixed offset. This is how
Without
fixed
fear.
offset looks like, right? Preset offset, right? And semi-locked, which means it's not completely locked, but it's semi-locked. You can also like lock it with Y, that's the default key. Just like
Time to make a
semi-locked, so
stand.
it's up to your preference, but I always prefer pre-side offset. Now when it comes down to some other things like sounds, this is just a preference, but you can turn off the music of the game, the announcer volume. The reason why you want to turn off the announcer volume, if for example, if you all the time hear the announcer saying an ally has to be slain, an ally got slain, an ally got slain, constantly you're gonna be more and more pissed off by bad news, so you could turn this off. It's just an extra bit of distraction, which you could already see the scoreboard up here, or if you tab, it doesn't really matter. So it's not something you really want to have on sound effect like music. You want to turn it off. It's just an extra distraction, and for me, after a time it gets to be more and more annoying, so I would just turn it off, honestly. Ambience also goes off, honestly. Theme, just a preference. It can be classic or basically like the newer version. FPS cap, you can cap it if you feel like. It's generally recommended so that PC can spare more sources, but it's up to you, honestly. Even if you don't get like over 240 FPS, you could still arguably cap it to like spare some of your PC's resources to a certain extent. I would recommend you to cap it at least over 80 FPS, but that's just my preference. Um, Other thing to point out is colorblind mode. It's a little bit better for colorblind people. Highlight candy, which is just basically ambient glitters and effects. Enable screen shake. I would just turn this off because it's just an extra distraction when you get Tristana art, for example. Then you get the screen shake, so you get more of a feeling. I don't know why this wasn't turned off honestly already. This is just your resolution basically. I prefer borderless because it's a bit easier to tap than in windowed, or than in full screen. So borderless for me it's usually the best. Now other things, you shouldn't have my settings because this is more so for people that already are good at the game. So you can replace quick cast with indicators, which is fine, but you could also like not have any of these. So you could just click on normal cast all, which means my abilities
Powering
will
up.
show their ranges before I throw them away. So you can see their ranges, their width. So you can more easily like basically you could more easily use your abilities in the exact way you want to, but this is a more delayed way of playing League,
Shocking.
which I mean if you get better and better at the game, once you got the hang of the abilities, the width of these abilities, and I would tell you to not forever use this because dart is even insane amount of delayed, that the higher you go, the more unacceptable this becomes. So for me, it's not a thing, but for you, it is. For you, it definitely you could also use this, which is kind of a in between thing. You know, if you use replace quick cast with quick indicators. Okay, now other things to watch out for in league. Never after a game, let's say the game finishes, right? You do badly, because the thing is, league is the type of game where you're gonna suck ass until you can kick ass. You're gonna suck at this game. It doesn't matter even if you pick an easier champ, you're just gonna suck at this game. And then you get a friend request, it's gonna appear here. Don't ever accept it. 99% of the time, these are the type of players that want to flame you, perhaps insta unfriend you, because if they are flaming in chat, it automatically also gets detected in game, or it's easier to report than outside of it, because outside of it you need to take a screenshot of it, send it to Riot Games, which lots of people CBA about. So it's kind of like most of the times people will just simply add you to flame you. Now if you're a girl, you have a girl name, then most of the times people are just horny or whatnot. So again, you're getting added by a league player, so it's questionable if you want to accept it. It's up to you. But basically, I've been playing League for 10 years, and 99% of the times it's just a flame. 1% of the times I use the strategy on Trindamir back in the time with Fleet. I think it was Halbreaker or what? No, it was Ravenous. No, it was Core Drinker. And basically, like, he just asked me, like, how do I play around this strategy? I told him that next patch this does get nerfed, and eventually Core Drinker also got removed because it was kind of a broken shove, insane short trade, insane healing type of build that was very, very broken. It got nerfed, obviously, to the point where Gordon also got removed. But the idea is that, as I said, I've been playing League for 10 years, and I think like very few times. Like I could count it probably like 3 or some. I don't even know how many times. It was very few times when it was actually a positive reason why people added me. So as I'm telling you, like don't accept friend requests from randoms. Most of the times, if you wanna add someone, maybe you add them, but just don't accept them. Just most of the time, it's just not even worth. And you're gonna learn it the easy way from me, but probably if people don't listen to me, you're gonna also learn it the hard way. Now, another thing that I wanna explain it to you guys, it's not a necessity for you to enjoy the game to play ranked, so you don't have to play any of the ranked options. You can play TFE, it can be a fun, it can be a very, very fun, that also has its own Arcane team, I think very soon if it's not already released. Now from the other hand, ARAM can be a very fun game mode which has the Bridge of Progress, which is built over teamed as Arcane is. Very good for beginner. So you can also play quick play, draft pick, you can play against bots more ideally. But it's not a necessity for you to play any of the ranked modes, even if you reach level 30, because you need level 30 for that. Now, other pro tips for beginners, I would say that you can also get some extra value. You can get this free Battle Pass. I would recommend you to buy it if you really want some extra acceleration, some extra skins. It's usually high on value, but I'm not the type of guy that buys skins, so it's up to you. In the loot section, you can very easily see what you got. These capsules can only be opened, so basically you want to open them, you're gonna get some champions out of them, which you could either disenchant for a lesser amount of blue essence, or you could upgrade. And what upgrading allows you to do is very, very simple. It means that you own the champion. That's what upgrading means. So usually it's way cheaper to upgrade it if you got it out of a loot box than buying it. So this will help you to obtain more champions at a shorter period of time, because Aurora costs 6,300 in the shop, and in here it's only 3,780. Alright, now we got that. Now beside of that, guys, what's very important to know, you're gonna have some degree of keys. The keys, you click on them, you combine them together, you get a actual real key that opens the box. Click on the box, you open two, because I have two keys. Hextech chest, Ash skin, Azrael skin. Wow, these are some decent skins. You can open another chest, because we got a chest inside of a chest. That's a real thing. And then if you don't like any of these skins, because you don't play the champions, or you don't like how the skins look like, you can click on reroll. You don't click on the same thing, you click on another one, you click on another one, and this is how you can get a random champion skin, which could be worse than the quality of these based on rarity. So it's the type of thing that if you like reroll like 3 legendary skins, it doesn't mean you're gonna get a supreme one or something. So it's random. Or you could also like combine 3 shittier skins, common skins, and get a legendary one. So it's just random, you know. It's just basically random. Now these there are some ward skins, you know, and there are some icons and whatnot. But most of the times you can unlock them or disenchant them. Uh, I would just highly recommend you to disenchant these because most of the times they're not as good as like having a skin. So I would just say disenchant these and just get the skin out of it, or disenchant these Eternals. These are just some progress trackers for you, but they're kind of useless. You would rather have skins instead of these extra little features. Um, Honestly, so ideally, I would just say if you don't have a lot of oranges, and just disenchant them to have your preferred skin. Another thing I can kind of like show it to you guys. This is where you can find the champions you own. So you can click on him, ownership, and you can see the champions that are free and the champions you own, so you know what can you play with before you get into champ select. In here you can see your skins in total, emotes. In here you can add in your emotes. For example, you really like Jinx from Arcane, Jace. Do I have any Arcane champs? I don't really have maybe any Arcane. Maybe I don't. I have Vi. I have Vi at least, right? So you can see like these Vi emotes in here, which you can add once you unlock them. And this is where the emotes go. So if you want to have any of those, these will be runes. Most of the times I would recommend you guys to just like simply like copy it from a site, or copy it from me or from someone else that's actually professional, because playing is alone you will not be able to actually tell which rune in what kind of situation to tell to get, I mean, unless you have enough game experience. So don't bother to overthink these, just get whatever people recommend you that are really good at the champion that you're playing in your matchup. These are summoner spells, these are things you select in champion select. You can go over them if you want to learn what they do, but it's more of a thing that you can also check out in champion select. In here you can have imported, you can import sets, you can paste a copied set from online. So for example, if you don't want to memorize, like, you can also make your own set as well, but if you copy the set from an online page, right, import item set, then it will go here for your specific champion. So the champion will also be selected from the set itself, so you don't have to worry about that. And even the map itself, if it's for ARAM or for Summoner's Rift, ideally for ARAM. I don't even know when did I get these, probably from the Professor app. I didn't even make these, honestly. But the thing is, this will be a very useful feature for you. So if you want to import an item set, because you can be bothered, you know, to like deal with all of those, then you also got to make sure import items lol, and you can import them. You can import them from different sites, you know. Basically, you can import it from different sites, you know. I don't even know from which build copy or alien, like, which is like a good example of a site, output item site. From mobile fire, can you, let's see before I tell you guys something bullshit. Champions, I just go to whatever champion. Maybe you wanna learn how to play Nyla. I just see if there is like a copy button, because I never use this, you know, because usually good players don't really need these because they already know their builds. But let's just see if this feature actually works. If this feature actually works. So you can also like screenshot it or copy it or memorize it, but that may not be so easy for people. Is there like a copy button? Honestly, I don't fucking know how this feature works. Probably it's useful for beginners, but whoever wants to like learn it, just figure it out yourself. Now, very useful of a guide I made here, but CBA to find it, honestly. But this is where you could use it. Icons are just basically for icons that appear in here and in game, you know, in loading screen. Now, aside of that, words, basically, just these are just some words here. There's not much to them. They're just word skins, chromas. There's just chromas. Basically, the skin of yours looks different than before. Finishers. These are just basically how the Nexus gets destroyed. I only have one. I don't even know how to earn more of these. And the thing is, that I really have to tell you guys, is that I think that's really it for now. I think there's like another cool tip I can give for beginners. So if you click on this account icon, you can also see your purchase history, and if you regret buying a champion, you can also refund it, because that way you could buy something else if you want to instantly play something else. So just a cool little trick. And also, what's very important to watch out for is discounts. So if you're the type of person that wants to buy mainly things discounted, you can see the discounted section of skins, and in here you can also very easily buy your preferred skins for a champion at a discounted price. So I would highly recommend you guys all of those. 100%. But that's it for now, guys. Have a nice day, y'all.